Greetings and salutations. How's everybody doing tonight? Looking forward to the weekend. Man, I need a day off. This week has kicked the crap out of me. I feel like that every week, but like this week in particular has been a rough week. Anyway, what do we got? What do we got going on? What do we got going on? Arzia short series nearly wrapping up. Ghostbusters still going strong. Let's see here. Yesterday, I started making an idle game on stream. That was fun. Made a significant amount of progress. I'm probably not going to stream the entire development of it. That significantly slowed down Tofu Topple. Because I found I work very on and off. Like, I'll just kind of leave it open in the background and just, I'll go watch a YouTube video. I'll get back to it and mess around with it. I'll go do this for a little bit. And it's harder for me to, like, devote time to, no, I'm just going to actually work on this for a while. So, even for the, like, oh, you could just stream with your mic off. It's like, I mean, I could stream with my mic off, but if I were streaming at the development pace that I want to, then I would be streaming, like, all day, and you'd only see development, like, for 10 minutes out of each hour. Boot up Final Fantasy in the middle of it. Yeah, so that's gonna be that. Gonna work on that. That's cool. What else have we got going on? Vote. Anybody stateside? Vote. Vote early if you can. Mail-in ballots have already gone out. We at the Talili household requested our mail-in ballots very early, and we already mailed them out. But vote. Do vote. Very important. But my vote doesn't matter. It matters a lot more than you'd think. I forget what the statistic is. Isn't it like 60% of people just don't vote? And on top of that, elections are usually determined by like 5 to 10% of the people who do vote. Like, we're talking 1% of the population or something dumb can swing the vote if they just voted. Please vote. Let's see, what else we got going on? That's about it. Can't think of too much more news. We got Tofu Topple tonight. A post-release stream. The game is out. You can get it. You can buy it and play it. And it's a video game. Oh, so I showed the game at GDEX last weekend. So GDEX, the Game Dev, it's like the Ohio Game Dev Expo. They did a digital showing this year since they couldn't very well do one in person. And I put in to have Tofu Topple shown, and it was, and I got to, like, show it off for half an hour at the very end of the stream. But it was great fun. We got to show it off. So that was cool. The game has been out at this point for something like 2 weeks. It pretty well died down at this point. So I figured we could play it now, get a feel for it, see what's going on. If you didn't catch the GDEX video or the live showing of it, I have an important announcement concerning Tofu Topple that I'll speak on later. Not a lot else I got. Not a lot else I got. Let's topple some tofus. Please don't. She's just doing her best. Okay, so I don't know how many people are up and ready. I showed off a couple things when I had the chance, such as... I think I showed off Time Trial. Yeah, I showed off Time Trial. It did not show off Endless, but I kind of mentioned what it was. I'm getting lucky with a couple of the bigger throws, which is keeping me caught up. But I'm starting to fall behind the pace of the advancement. Ah! Ah, not bad. Not bad. Not bad. So, endless mode is just that the gems advance automatically, so you're effectively racing the advancement. I forget what you making matches do. Does it give you bonus time? Like what you making combos does. It doesn't slow the advancement. It may just be bonus score, I guess. I don't know. I forget. I know I made the game, but I forget. Time trial, on the other hand, is there's a timer counting down, and you're just trying to make as many points as possible before the timer hits 0. If the timer, or when you make combos and things, you will actually extend the timer. I think, can I demo mode? I cannot demo mode on this. I think in time trial, the AI can play in... The AI on extra speed can play indefinitely. On endless mode, even on extra difficulty, the AI will eventually get pushed off. Oh, if you're not sure what's unlocked or not, don't check bios, because I think Tofu is always unlocked. Just go to Quick Match and check online, see if it's grayed out. If it's grayed out, you have to beat it as Tofu. If it's not grayed out, then you can play online. Is something saved in the registry? It's not in the registry, it's in... It's effectively saved in a browser cookie. Wherever it is that those are stored. Yeah, and admittedly, because it is the same game, I don't know how to make local storage look for a different game. It's the same game. It's just been updated, so it does read your old save from the test builds. Which is usually... It's a little awkward, but at least you don't have to beat the game, because it unlocked everything already. I don't think it unlocked any of the characters in extras. But it did unlock the, some things. So I have, at this point... Yeah, I have at this point gotten a few reports back of odd bugs here and there, but they're pretty much all, hey, the opponent AI stops working in some situations. And most of those bugs I either know about or can't be bothered to fix. Oh, that's right, full screen. So the thing with full screen, and this is something that I'll just want to check, I guess, is you can toggle full screen. I have no idea what will happen to the stream when I do this. Okay. You can toggle full screen, and then go do something. And it takes you somewhere. But when you go back to the main menu, it bug... Oh yeah, that does bug out. But it still thinks it's in full screen, so you have to, like, unfull screen and then re-full screen. Boy, that's great. That's amazing. I'm just Should I just disable full screen? Friggin' hate nw.js. Uh. Okay, we're back. Okay. So, I should look at full screen. There's a bug. So I kind of know why some of that happens. So when you go to the title screen, that's when it does all the initial setup, like when you're starting a new, first booting up the program. And if you had it set at full screen, it'll set it as full screen. So that's probably something similar. I mean, that's probably has something to do with when you go back to the main menu from an additional menu, it is like trying to reset variables or whatever when it doesn't need to. So that's probably one problem. Another problem is probably when you exit full screen, it's not setting the window at the correct size. Which I have to do when the program first boots up. I mean, it's on the upside. It's a full screen bug. It's not like game breaking. It just looks funky. Do I have more Steam comments now? I haven't actually checked in a while. 4 user reviews. Okay, that's that one, which I knew about. Okay, so none of the reviews are anything that I haven't read before. It's just a matter of that. So, okay. I have an idea what's going on with it, which, as far as bugs go, isn't the worst. And as far as bugs go, a full screen bug is not the biggest deal. Anyway, let's play some Tofu Topple. Which is what we're here for. Oh man. I'll play against Hypo. I do myself a disservice by playing as Isami. Because Isami is a pretty easy character to deal with, I feel. But I like Isami. So shut up. Hypo is surprisingly good at this game. Better than me at it. More gems. Throw it, get rid of it. My brain has stopped. Why can I not think? Oh my goodness, I can't think. I can't think. I'm done. I'm already fried. We just started. I haven't even completed one. You saw me drop off. Like, I was on par with Hypo until about 100, and then my brain stopped. God dang it. Alright, I'll do another match, but I feel like I gotta take a break after that. I could be somebody that's a pain in the butt. I could be somebody that's a pain in the butt, like Meat Bun. Or Ogre, or Rhino. Be Morgana. Morgana's kind of a pain in the butt. Go somewhere else. Get. Dang it, I was gonna throw a gem there. Yeah, I can't do it. My brain is shot. I'm trying real hard. But my brain, no. Like, I even grabbed the wrong gem, and it takes me like a full second for my brain to go. How do we handle this? Let's get rid of these. These are climbing up kind of high. God dang, I was gonna throw a gem there. And there! God dang it. This is the worst. Go away. I'm having enough trouble just playing the game on my own. No. Please. Okay, no, I can't play another game after this. I can't do it. No. No, don't grab that. Yeah, I can't do it. I'm shot. Yeah, I'm shot. I can't do it. I can only play like... I shouldn't have played Endless before starting. Maybe I would have had an extra game in me. But like, holy heck. Can I watch you guys? Nope, something weird's going on. Yeah, I feel like one issue is that I am using system fonts for a couple things, which can do things like cause font scaling problems. And you can't guarantee exactly how a font's going to be seen on different computers. There will be minor differences. But ideally, and this is what I'm going to do for the idle game, is you want to make a sprite font and just use that for everything. Can I watch? How y'all doing? Aw, currently in game. Poop. I really wish there was a way to tell if they were in-game or not from the lobby, but that is not a thing that I can do. You can get very little information about a room without actually being in the room. You can get the room name and how many people are in it, and that's pretty much it. And in order to figure out if they're in game or not, I would have to actually join the room and ping the host to ask the host, "Hey, where are you?" So the host could respond. And like by then, I've joined the room. Even if I'm looking from this screen, joining in the room, in order to leave the room, I have to reset the game. So you can't. It's dumb. It's real dumb. I absolutely do not like how Construct handles netcode. Guys done, I want to watch. Yay! Honestly, on one hand, I'm kind of ashamed at a poor performance on my part, but on the other hand, I'm so happy that there are people out there who are this much better at the game than me. Like this dumb game that I made, that's doing its best, and there are people that said, okay, I'll play that game. And I'll, in fact, be quite good at it. And, like, some people are just going to be better at it than others without a ton of experience. But it's also difficult to just, like, pick the game up and immediately be this good at it. Yeah, netcode is often a pain, but it sounds like Construct's netcode is particularly bad. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily bad, but they had a very specific idea about what they wanted you to do with their netcode. And I am fighting it tooth and nail to get it to do something it was not at all designed to do. Hey there, Mitsuzuka. So the trash gem that... So how does Ogre handle? The trash gem that Ogre sends is the rainbow gem, which you saw very briefly on the right-hand side. So you'll see two different colored gems overlaid behind the rainbow gem, behind the little meteor symbol. You have to make a match with that gem, with one of those two colors as it's displayed. So while you see, say, brown and yellow displayed on it, you need to make a match with it. I think it has to have a minimum of two or maybe just one, non-ogre gem in order to do it. So if you have two ogre gems that are yellow and brown, you toss one brown gem on top of that while it's still yellow and brown, and it'll make the match and clear them out. Ogre's gem is kind of an interesting one because it's much more so a stall gem. Ogre's gem is much more so a stall gem than it is a score gem. But the stallness of it decreases with player skill. So an exceptionally good player will hardly be stalled by Ogre's gem, but a new or inexperienced player will be very stalled by Ogre's gem. Like, it's a weird one. Like, Ogre's gem is kind of the noob killer. That, like, the pros can just breeze by. Some of the worst gems to deal with are stall gems. Some of them are more stall than others. Probably the worst stall gems are either going to be meat buns, Rhinas, or to an extent Morganas. I don't think Morganas is as bad as meat bun and Rhinas. But I think the stall gems are a little, or can be a little too much. Yeah, something that specifically targets newer and experienced players seems like a bad idea with respect to new player retention. It absolutely is, and that was not at all my intention when I made that gem. But by the time I figured that out, it was too late to turn back. Yeah, some guy is a beast. Some guy and Wimwidget, I think. Whoever Wimwidget is. Like, those two are absolute beasts. Got a window bug? Alright, Hypo, I'll take a look. Oh, that one. So the window bug actually happened to me earlier when I was hecking around with full screen. It was when the game window was real tiny. Like, the actual game window gets shrunk down to be, like, this big. Probably had to reset. Wonder why that happens. Well, I'm sure it happens because... I'm sure it happens because I have to reset the game. And so I'm sure it's on reset, it's not scaling the window correctly. On some guy, that's actually one of the reasons why I went with a quota system in this game. Was I hated when I was playing Magical Drop. I hated that even if I was just wailing on my opponent, if they could keep their head afloat, they could just last forever. Like, if I couldn't deal that definitive final blow, then effectively everything you've done means nothing. And you can just go on forever. You have no idea where the end is going to be. The only... Yeah, Magical Drop has quota too, thank heavens. Which is where the quota idea for this came from. It was kind of like, hey, what if Magical Drop was only about the quota? Kind of the only major issue that I have with the quota is about halfway there you can tell who's winning and who's losing. And if you're losing by if it's a close match, then you can keep plowing ahead. But if one person is winning substantially over the other, then like you might as well stop there. But I guess you could just like, I don't know, set a lower quota. 150 or even 100. Like, I don't need to go to 200 against some guy. Some guy will beat me at 100. If I play my cards right, I can play on pace with hypo. But I have to play like perfect. If I fall behind against hypo, then I just lose. Can you balloon the quota? Yeah, if you want the quota to be 999, you can do that too. Play against a friend, set the quota to 999, but you be like genuinely good at the game, and you just fly your way up to like 998, and then just wait. Force them. They're at like 300 and just going, no! Don't make me get to 600. I mean, at that point, you just suicide, like... So an easier way to deal with Tofu's gems is to just grab all of them and toss them on, like... Toss them... Kind of what I was doing, where you grab them all and you toss them in one spot, and just let them squish themselves. And if your opponent is good enough that you kind of just always have Tofu gems, then that's a pretty handy way to get rid of them. Or at least to minimize the damage they can do to them. They can do with them. But if you can get ahead to the point that your opponent has trouble sending you garbage, then it would probably be better to actually try to clear them out proper, so they're just all gone. Oh, the quick draw matches are another fun one. I think I showed those off, too. Those are always a good time. You just set the quota to 1. Or technically you could set it to 3. But set the quota to 1. And you have the split second that the blocks are moving up at the start of the match and the countdown timer is going down. You have that split second to parse the gems and to figure out what the absolute most efficient way to make a single match is. And you saw there were 2 options there. Like, there were 3 blue gems on the top. So, Hypo had the idea of, okay, I'll grab all 3 of those visible blue gems and make the match that way. Whereas some guy noticed that if he moved 1 gem out of the way, he could grab a hidden brown gem and throw it on top of the 2 visible brown gems to make a match. And even though you had to move a gem out of the way, it's fewer total moves than it is to collect all 3 blue gems. It's just a silly thing, but I love that that's a thing. Emergent gameplay! Completely unintended, but cool. Oh wow, it was such an amazing tie that Ping decided the winner. Yeah, I think if it's close enough, it technically gives it to the host, just because of Ping. Because, like, when player 2 wins, it sends a message to player 1 saying, hey, I won. But if player 1 wins before it gets that message, then player 1 may think it won. So I suppose that's a little unfair to player 2. In that you not only have to win, but you have to win by more than your ping. Which in a quick draw actually matters. I wasn't actually paying attention, so I feel bad. Oh, visually here, you mean like on the stream? That may have just been spectator desync, which happens. Morgana's gems are kind of a pain in the butt to deal with. And I feel like the biggest reason they're a pain in the butt for me is when you destroy them, you kind of expect them to go away. But they don't. They turn into other gems. And then very suddenly you're like, oh wow, I have a lot more crap on my screen than I thought I did. I think that was more. Yeah, that was Morgana's music. Yeah, I don't know how close some guy actually was, but like, boy, some guy looked like he got close to topping out with those clouds at one point. Who's some guy now? It is Karen. Though it's spelled Kharon, and it's actually referenced to that's funky. Okay. It was a visual bug. It wasn't real. It's a reference to Charon, which is... It's technically pronounced Karen, which is why I used a K, so it actually looks like it's spelled how it's supposed to be pronounced. But, Karen from Greek mythology is the ferryman of the river Styx, which is Karen's job here. She is a little bit like a Botan thing. Window fogged again. Man. Yeah, Karen from Greek mythology is Charon, which you look at and you think, okay, it's Charon. But, like, no, it's, if you look into the Greek spelling and the Greek pronunciation, it is pronounced Karen. So I used a K with this Karen so you read it how it's supposed to be pronounced, and also because Karen sounds more like an actual lady's name. I don't know why we Romanized that as CH instead of KH when it's not pronounced that way. This is the same problem I have with Cyrano. If you want it to be pronounced Cyrano, use a CH. That's how Romanization works. Yeah, admittedly, though, even the word Romanizing is funny. We're going to make something Roman. What if it's already Roman? Do you Romanize Roman? Yeah, it's... Okay, so here's the funny thing about Cyrano's name. Is the first character is Chi. So it would be Chiru. No, that's how it would be pronounced in Japanese. Chiru, no. So the other thing, though, is that it's spelled in katakana, not in hiragana. And katakana is typically used for the spelling of non-native words. It has other I mean, it's used for other things, but it's used for spelling non-native words, which means Chiru no may just be a Japanese approximation of what he wants her name to be. So, in that turn, what does he want her name to be? I don't know. But also, if you wanted it to be pronounced Chiruno, why did you not Romanize it as Chi? Is her name actually spelled in English anywhere? I think it is. And I think it's spelled Cirno, like officially. Even in the Japanese version. So, like, what the crap? Like, you get people saying, oh, it's supposed to be like chill. Stop lying. You don't know that. The short answer is I want Zune to come out and say this is what we want. And until then, I'm saying it's Cyrano. See, the W in Tewi, it's Tewi. Don't tell me not to pronounce that W. Don't put the W in there if you don't want me to pronounce it. I will argue against Romanization rules. Because they're dumb. I at least understand Tewi. What I don't understand is why the W is in there. Like, I know the Wii is it's an archaic sound that's not really used anymore. So, like, I get that it's supposed to, like, you're not supposed to use it as it's used like that because it's old or whatever, but, like, why is there a W in it? Who sat down and said, ah, yes, when we write this character using English characters, we should put a W there? Sir, why should we put a W there? Because it's old. But you don't pronounce the... You heard me. Okay, sir. boy, I can buy fireworks. Let me just delete that so nobody else gets to see that link. Even though they could watch the VOD, and I didn't write it down or anything, so it's not doing me any good. Mostly I'm just banning a bot. That blinking is also unintentional, and I have no idea why it's doing it. It may just be some nw.js crap. Because one thing I noticed once I exported it was the swiping back and forth was sometimes a little stuttery, which shouldn't be. Oh wow, look at all them blues. Fancy. And some guy with the smart play of splitting the blues. So many there he could get 2 matches out of 1 group. See, I would have just gone for 1 really big match, and that's why I'm not good at this. Hypo letting all the gems destroy themselves before raising the gems, for raising their own gems up. Oh, but raised them up that time. I always want to play low against Karen. Alright, Hypo's getting a little bit spent, so I should probably step back in. Here's what I'm going to do, though. I'm going to go ahead and step out of here. Thank you very much for the games, Hypo and some guy. Saved me killing my wrists and embarrassing myself. Yeah, Hypo, I did the exact same thing when you were Karen that one time. I would keep, like, I've thrown them exactly where I need them to be, and now to raise up the gems and completely stop any progress I just made. Okay, so here's the thing. The one thing that I did not get to show off any of in the GDEX show is the campaign. And I'm genuinely really proud of a lot of the dialogue that I wrote for this game. So I'm going to do it on easy, so I don't have to worry too much when the quota is smaller. But we have here 9 characters. I'm going to play through a campaign mode on easy mode and show off some of the dialogue. So, votes. Who wants to see what? Who wants to see what character? I'll play through as. So we have Tofu, Naka, Isami, Karen, Meat Bun, Rhina, Morgana, Yuki, and Ogre. Here we got an Ogre. So after I finish this playthrough, I will make my announcement, which again was already technically announced in the GDEX showing. But as soon as I'm done with this, I'll make my announcement, and I think I'll probably stick around for a minute to answer questions, because I'm sure people will have questions. But, because I know the Discord had a bunch of questions. Oh, which reminds me, something else that I finally got around to doing that I've been wanting to do for a really heckin' long time is look just below the stream. I made fancy little pictures for all the panels. And I'm real proud of them. We got one for the tip jar. We got one for the Discord, because we have a Discord, if anybody wants to join, that isn't in there already. You just have to type !Discord in the chat and to get the link. And then we have one for links to all the places that I've been already. We also have a link to Tofu Topple, if you want to get the game. That's a link to the Steam page. Vivian down there is telling you about all of the things that I have, the technical specs that I use for a lot of things and how I made a lot of things that I'm doing. And, assuming it loads correctly, because Twitch has been having problems with it, you can also see a list of the emotes that you can get if you sub to the channel. So yeah, I've been meaning to make those little drawings for a really long time, and I wanted to do them so little because I hate drawing. I wanted to do them so little that I kept thinking, like, who can I commission to do these things? And then I eventually finally sat down and said, I'm literally never going to get somebody to do these things. I need to just do them myself. And I sat down for a friggin' hour and drew all 3 of them. So anyway, vote-wise, I see like 3 votes for Ogre. We have a vote for Question Mark. Question Mark says Meat Bun. We have another Meat Bun. And we have a Tofu. We do have 3 Ogres, though. 4 Ogres. 4 Ogres. So Ogre it is. So everybody has a different reason to show up at this gate. Ogre got lost. I also had to draw these little sprites for everybody throughout all the dialogue that I'm relatively happy with. I put a lot of effort into making sure they were all relatively expressive. Which is kind of a tricky thing to do mentally. Because typically you have like an idol of a character, just them standing there doing something.
Oh,
and whenever you think, hey, thank you, Dresvin. $10 in from Dresvin, who says, hello, Nuck, I hope life is treating you well. I would like to put this towards the Ocarina of Time randomizer. Congrats on publishing the game. Thank you, Dresvin. So the thing with doing sprites is you typically have kind of an idol, and whenever you think, oh, I need to have them posing to do something, you make a modification to that idol. But you have a tendency to want to change as little as possible about the static image that you started with, which means all of their animations are very stiff. You didn't hear what that said.
Oh, no, man.
So you have to genuinely challenge yourself to distort, deform, and move the character around. Move them. Redraw stuff. So anyway, Ogre got here because he got lost. He was looking for Crazy Ivan's hot dogs. Oh, Shala is, at this point, Ogre's wife. And a brief mention of the fact that Ogre is actually friggin' smart and a trained archaeologist. And able to make obvious observations. Okay, so this is kind of the framing of the whole game then. It's this gateway that everybody's showing up at, and it lets you know, ye who enters the gate, thou shalt be pitted against numerous adversaries in a test of skill. To the victor goes immortality. Some people are here for that reward. Some people got here by accident. But you're sucked in then, and pitted against everyone, so you just have to go fight everyone. Isami is mute. Isami does, however, have a kind of spirit talking. She can convey intentions and words without words. And some people are more able to understand her than others. Generally, it's how accepting and open-minded you are. It becomes easier to tell what she's saying. And for the most part, the cast of main characters is pretty good at it. Naka can understand her perfectly. Most everybody else can understand her pretty darn well. Maybe not, like, absolutely perfectly. I would say most of the cast, like Ogre, understand her about as well as you would understand someone speaking naturally. Because if someone speaks naturally, you have their words, but you don't necessarily understand the meaning behind those words. You just kind of have to interpret the words they said the best way you can. And that's kind of the extent that most of the cast, like Ogre, can understand Isami. Naka understands her well enough that she can effectively understand even the meaning behind them, to the point that Naka can almost read her mind. She understands her so well. But for most of the people, like Ogre, they're just kind of having a conversation. And you kind of have to glean, but since Isami isn't actually talking, you have to glean what she said from how everybody responds to her. So, Ogre is a brawler. He boxes, mostly. Isami uses martial arts. Kung Fu, so to say. But Isami is also physically very strong, so this would be an interesting matchup. Isami's ready to go. Okay, so easy difficulty is actually, like, hilariously easy. Because it moves so amazingly slow. So I wanted to have the different difficulties. And I wanted the game to be accessible. So no matter how good you are, I wanted you to be able to play through and enjoy the game. Like topped her off. Oh, someone asked in the GDEX stream, so are they actually playing this game, or is this an abstraction of them fighting? I want to say they're actually playing this game, but not in the way that we're playing this game. They're actually playing this game, but they're using their abilities, their own abilities and capabilities to do it. So, like, they're fighting, but not actually fighting. So I would say this is an abstraction. What you see is an abstraction of how they're fighting, but how they're fighting isn't actually just fighting. They're fighting with spell cards, kinda. So you see that, and you know, like, okay, so Isami was saying, like, I just need to practice more or something, I don't know. Ah, Morgana. So how I play is I'm much better than easy. I play about on par with the end of normal because the difficulty does get harder as you go in to campaign mode. I play about on par with the end of normal and the beginning of hard. I cannot beat hard. So when you play against an AI in the versus mode, like a quick match in versus mode, you're actually playing against the starter end of that difficulty. So if you play against hard, you're playing against the beginning of hard in campaign mode. The end of hard in campaign mode you can only experience in the end of campaign mode. Don't imagine Tofu would fare well in an actual action game. I don't know. I feel like if Tofu wanted, she'd just bring down a meteor on somebody. Probably unintentionally. I mean, at the end of the day, Tofu is an amazingly powerful mage. Okay, so Morgana is very unhappy with Ogre. These are the events in... I actually named it, but I forget what it is. These are the events in the second game. So, Ogre's stepping up to be the hero. Thankfully, nobody's actually in any genuine danger in this place. If they were in actual genuine danger in this place, See, also when I say they're fighting, it also levels the playing field. Because, objectively, none of these people should be able to beat Morgana. Just flat out. And that's the kind of test of skill that was mentioned in the intro. Yay. Miss Naka made a lot of people angry. Yes, I mean, Morgana is an antagonist. So most of the heroes are going to make Morgana upset. Rhina has specific history with Miss Naka. Because Miss Naka's nickname is the Honey White, and she got that nickname by beating up Rhina without even turning around. I'm not actually exactly sure how that happened in canon, but it's reference to my gearless-bootless, wall-jump bootless run of Bunny Must Die, where Bunny, at the end, had to beat Chelsea, the elf princess, without turning around, or wall jumping, or dashing. But specifically without turning around, which was hilarious. And Bunny in that game has kind of a super mode called Bunny the Honey White, where her outfit turns yellow. So I took that when I beat that challenge, I took that nickname on myself and started calling myself Naka the Honey White pretty much everywhere. And that just carried over when I made Miss Naka, is I gave her the title, the Honey White, for beating the elf princess without even turning around. It was quite some time before I even developed Rhina as a character, like who even is Rhina. So I now have developed Rhina, but I still haven't actually thought about in canon how that happened. Anyway, Karen's here. So Karen is the fairy woman for the River Styx, and she has functioned as the save point. But she's been kind of helping, not through direct action, but she's been helping out like Nock and Ogre and everybody for a little while now, since the beginning of the first game. So Karen is a deity, and if Karen were to actively fight, I feel like Karen could beat Morgana, but Karen generally can't be too active in the realm of the living. Okay, so if I send too much garbage over there, the AI is going to get stuck. Because the AI handles Ogre's gems by stacking them all up in one place, and then grabbing a gem, and then waiting over top of it. For it to change to a point that it can clear them. But I'm simply throwing garbage at her too fast for her to be able to do anything about it. So instead of stacking them up, she can't get rid of them fast enough, so she ends up just topping herself out. Alright, Tofu, the title character. So, I noticed while writing the dialogue for this, that for being the title character and the character that you have to play as first, Tofu, like, doesn't know anybody in here. So I had to not necessarily make connections, but I had to, like, find ways for her to be able to interact with everyone other than her just showing up and going, huh? You're someone. And yes, I lowered the quota for easy because my thinking was, if you are, like, watch how fast the AI is clearing gems on easy. If that's the rate that you're playing at, like, if you're playing at a rate to be able to, because you have to play on easy, then you're probably playing pretty slow. And if you're playing at the rate that easy's playing, or even a little bit faster, getting to a quota of 200 takes forever. So I lowered the quota to 100, so they still have matches that take a reasonable amount of time. Oh wow, she actually sent garbage over. I didn't know. I didn't know Easy could send garbage. Well, we are getting up there. These are the harder Easies. And I'm not exactly sending a ton of garbage over there either. To stop her. No one's bumped into Tofu. Not directly. I think Naga has heard rumors. But it sort of makes sense. Like, this takes place there. Okay, so I have kind of like 3 Well Gaia games planned of the overarching story, and this takes place after Game 2. And Game 1 had Naka, Ogre, and Yuki. Naka, Ogre, Yuki, and Karen meeting. Game 2 had Yuki wasn't there, but Naka, Ogre, and Karen were there, and they met Isami in Game 2. But, like, Tofu wasn't in either of the games, or isn't going to be in either of the games. So, come this point, none of them know... Like, none of them have met her. And honestly, this game is questionably canon anyway, so... So, Rhina is as arrogant as always. And as soon as Rhino recognizes he's connected to Honey White, she just wants to leave. Not that one. I find I'm overhitting a lot. But I think that's just the point where I've been playing enough that I start getting worse. So I'm just actively not hitting the button. Like, there's nothing objectively wrong, I'm just actively playing worse. There we go, finally familiar face. So after Game 1, Yuki kind of goes her own way. But Yuki came upon some interesting abilities, so she went her own way, but she's going out kind of in a self-reflective journey. She's figuring out who she is and what she wants to do. There are other games beside this in Tofu Tower. Not currently. I have 3 main Well Gaia games planned. The first one I'm in the process of making. Kind of the big problem is something like Tofu Tower and Tofu Topple were comparatively simple games to make, whereas the main Well Gaia series are all far more complicated. So it's taking me considerably longer to make. And honestly, it's taken me at this point so long to make that it's just worn on me and my enthusiasm has gone down to make them at all. I just realized that if Ogre runs into Yuki first, then Ogre says that he's run into a bunch of sour people when he's literally never met anyone. Alright, let's get you sit down somewhere reasonable. You're not helping anything. You're not helping anything. Go away, please. The order of opponents in the campaign is indeed random. The only requirement is if you are not playing as Meat Bun, the final opponent is always Meat Bun. If you are playing as Meat Bun, the final opponent is Tofu. Otherwise, it's randomized. And of course, we have to have, when we have Ogre and Naka together, we have to have the ham off. Both of them standing there sticking their chests out. And of course, we can't end this on, like, actually deciding a victor. So, because if you're playing as Naka, you have to play against Ogre and win. So, the loser always gives, like, a really dumb excuse for why they lost, but also kind of shows that they just weren't really trying that hard in the first place. Like, they hammed it up and then just kind of phoned it in. So, Naka says she stubbed her toe. I forget what Ogre says. I think Ogre just says, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it today. Alright, Meat Bun, final boss. So Meat Bun is generally angry with everybody because all Meat Bun really wants to do is fight Tofu. So the funny thing about Meat Bun is, or the line that Meat Bun said just a second ago is, I bet you have trouble turning the light on in the morning, is lights in Welgaia are more often than not magical. Which means you'll have like a little light crystal or something, but in order to activate it, you have to use a little magic on it to charge it to turn it on and get it to expel light. And magic in Welgaia is a thing that generally everybody can do, but to varying degrees. Most people can do little things, small things, like turn on the light. But it does take a genuinely skilled mage to do things that you would consider actual magic. So, when Meat Bun's saying, I bet you have trouble turning the light on in the morning, that's not even just a, hey, I think you're an idiot and don't know how to turn the light on, but it's also a, I bet you don't even have the magical capacity of a commoner. Which, coming from someone like Meat Bun, who prides herself on her magical ability, is actually a fitting insult. Hydrate! I gotta hydrate. Let's hydrate before we fight Meat Bun. Make sure we're ready for this. So, Wim on the Discord, I saw that Wim played through the campaign mode as every character on hard mode. And I remember Wim saying that Meat Bun was a suitable final boss on hard. So, due to the escalating difficulty, by the end of easy, you're playing about on par with the start of normal. So the final boss of easy is about the same as fighting the first opponent on normal, difficulty-wise. Which is not necessarily that hard. Like, I can beat normal, so the beginning of normal really isn't that much of a challenge. It's the end of normal when we start getting into near hard difficulty. And of course, Ogre stating that he can, in fact, turn on that light. And one thing about Ogre is he has the ability to control the elements. So there's the Voli, which are the ability users. Someone like Morgana is an ability user, and Yuki is an ability user. I think those are the only 2 ability users on the cast. And then there's also magic. There are mages, of which we have Meat Bun, Tofu, and technically Rhina is a mage. Ogre can control the elements, but what he's doing when he's controlling the elements is not Avoli, and it's not magic. What exactly it is delved into in the second game. So what's happening with Meat Bun when she tops herself out like that is the fact that AI is hard to program. I can tell you exactly what's happening because she's programmed to grab all of Ogre's gems and drop them in one place, so she can make a match on top of it to clear them all out at once. However, if she's grabbed too many, then when she throws them down, they go high enough that my emergency AI kicks in, which is my "you're about to top off. Do something about that" AI, which says grab a gem from the highest point and do something with it. But she grabs the gem from the highest point, which is now the giant stack of ogre gems. She grabs that gem off the top, and then has to throw it somewhere. But the AI says, you're holding an ogre gem? Throw it on top of the existing stack of ogre gems. And she's locked in. Ogre's ability is not a game breaker. It's only a game breaker when you play too far above the AI's capability. If I were playing on normal, Ogre's Gem generally slows the AI down, but it doesn't break the game. It's just because easy AI is horrendously slow. Anyway, Ogre has won, and he's exited from the arch. And now he's ready to go out and look again for Crazy Ivan. And he's got to figure out how to get out of the forest. And he knows objectively what you're supposed to do, but in practice, maybe he's not that great at it. But anyway, that's that. That's the game. Here's the end credits. We did it. Amazing music that Stuart Ferguson made. And then everybody that's helped us out along the way. These are the people who helped testing, as well as the people who sent or donated money so I could have Stuart make the music for this game. But there, we did it. There's the end of Tofu Topple. One campaign mode on easy. For the record, again, like, I can do it on hard. Or I can play, like, the first round on hard, but that's about... I may not even do that because I may not even be able to do this because I'm kind of gamed out at this point. Yeah, my brain's kind of stopping. Yeah, my brain's stopping. Okay, so when you lose, you'll notice that in the upper left-hand corner is your wins, and when you beat all 8 of them, you have beaten campaign mode. Like the final one of those will be Meat Bun. But there's also 3 spots in the upper right-hand corner. You are given 3 continues, effectively, to beat the game. So I could continue, and it would gives them 1 win. It's effectively 3 lives, and on one hand, I don't feel like... On one hand, I'm not a huge fan of having lives in games, but at the end of the day, lives do have a purpose, just like everything else. It's putting lives in games that don't have a use for them. Like, I feel like something that you can easily farm lives in, something that you can backtrack, that you can run around, Mario World. You beat 1 level, you just run back. You can go find life farming areas. You can play previous levels to get lives. You can do all that running around. Lives mean nothing in Mario World. But something like, say, a shmup, that's effectively how many deaths you have to beat the game. And you can maybe get a couple extra if you play your cards right with score and things. But at the end of the day, if you run out of lives and you didn't beat the game, you have to start the game over. You weren't good enough to beat the game. And so you play again, and you practice. And you get better until you can beat the game using those preset lives. So in a situation like that, I feel like lives are actually very important. They effectively give you a couple chances to heck up, but still require an amount of skill in order to beat the game. I kind of view it in the same way in this. Like, I put those in there as a way to, okay, you hecked up, you got a bad roll, I'll give you another chance. But I also saw it as, if you lose more than 3 times, you probably didn't have it in you to beat this difficulty anyway. Go practice. Or play on an easier difficulty. But anyway, you can continue. I'm just going to cancel out, though. Okay, so the last thing, and this is something that I mentioned... Okay, the last thing, the announcement that I wanted to make, this is something that I mentioned... do the strikes reset if you beat them? No. You have 3 strikes to get through the entire campaign. I don't actually know the details of how you get lives in the main Toho games. Usually it's score related. Like you get an extend at like 1,000,000 points or whatever. I don't know how Toho handles it. Anyway, so my announcement is, in the future, I do not know an exact date, in the future, I want to hold a Tofu Topple tournament. The winner of this tournament is going to get their own character added to the game as a playable character, as a 10th character. So I don't know exactly when I want to do this. Yeah, I don't know exactly when I want to do this. I want to give myself a chance to kind of get settled, figure out, take a break. Um, but yeah, once things are going, we'll get going. I still need to look into how to actually run the tournament and to figure all of that out. So people were asking like, "Hey, how do you apply for this?" I don't know. I will figure that out when we get there. So I'm not accepting applications or whatever right now. Not dealing with any of that. When I announce it, I'll have figured out how I want to handle it, how we want to do things. I don't even know how many people would be interested in entering. So I feel like it would be difficult for me to gauge how exactly I want to do it. Like, I feel like I would like to just do bracketed, but I don't know. Maybe we'll have 4 people enter. Maybe we'll have 40 people enter. I don't know. As far as rules for the tournament, I do feel like generally a best of 3 would be good. Maybe for the finale, get a best of 5 or something. Anybody can play any character, but you are more than welcome to converse with your opponent about a gentleman's rule about who to pick, who not to pick. Like, if you want to talk to your opponent and both agree, neither, like, look, can we just, like, not pick Ogre? Or if you don't pick Ogre, I'll not pick what you want to not pick. Like, I will let the 2 competitors decide that for themselves. Yeah, and some guy how I would handle it is if you want to request to them, like, it would be up to your opponent. If you want to request to them that you play a mirror match and they're okay with it, then cool. If you would request a mirror match and they say, no, I just really want to be this one character, then I guess technically you could be that character too, and that would kind of force a mirror match. Open to the risk of competitors who might trick their opponents. I mean, you both have to queue in. Like, if you say, okay, I won't be Ogre if you don't be Morgana, and then they choose Morgana, you've got to hit confirm. So, on that note, there's also the idea of verifying the runs, or verifying the matches, and what do you mean so they can cheat their way to victory? Like I'm saying, if they choose Morgana anyway, you have to hit confirm that, okay, they can't cheat their way. Like, yeah, I also want to introduce the idea of match verification, which I would do this as simply as I would request I've been thinking about this a little bit. I'm trying to figure out how exactly I want to do it. I would say you are, if possible, record or stream your run. So if there's any discrepancy, I can confirm. If you cannot do that, as long as both people agree on who won, I'm fine with that. You don't need to. If both people come out and say, yeah, B won, like B says I won, A says, yeah, B won, then I don't feel a need to verify that if they agree. If there is a dispute over who won, then I would require either a recording or a stream in order to verify it. If they cannot supply a recording or a stream, and there is a dispute over it, then I have to have someone spectate and verify, and they have to redo the match. Like, if you can't agree on who won, and you don't have confirmation on who won, then you have to redo the match with verification. Either you have to redo it with streaming or recording, or you have to do it with a spectator. And I'm sure during the course of this, I would try to make myself as available as possible to spectate matches for this. Wonder if it's a really close match, like that one quick draw. If you can't agree, I can watch that, and I can probably deem that a draw. Like, if it's that close, and one person says I won, the other person says they won, and I can watch that and confirm, then I would deem that a draw and require a rematch. So yeah, otherwise, I don't know when exactly I want to do this, but I'll give y'all some time to practice, because I'm sure some people have either still plan on getting the game, or haven't gotten the game, or have gotten the game and haven't had the chance to play it. I'll give you the chance to get some practice in. We've got some pretty good contenders. I'm pretty sure some guy in WIM would probably give people a run for their money. But who knows? I'm sure, like, if I make a video announcing this, there may be somebody in the viewer base that doesn't speak up much or hop into play that's actually friggin' amazing. Who knows? They're just out there living their best life. So, the winner, though, gets their own character added as a 10th character. So we will have a 10th character that is their character. For this, you can do literally whatever you want to do. You can give me your own OC. You can design a character specifically for this. If you don't want to do something, if you want to... Somebody on Discord asked, can I give it to someone else so their character can be in? As long as they're cool with that, sure. You have the decision over whatever it is that you want to do. And in doing that, I will work with them. This is to answer Toho Raiden's question too. So in introducing that character, I will work with them to include that character into Welgaia canon. This can be very loose as it needs to be. This can be... either as kind of a brand new character that we work in as a proper part of the world, that grew up in the world and is as part of it, but is still effectively your character. We can have a friggin' temporal rift, and they just get plopped in from your universe and go, oh, where the heck am I? And then at the end, they just get ported back to their own universe. We can work on that however we want to work on that. I will also work with you to make sure that because you will get 2 full-body drawings, a background image, and music made for the character. So you will get all of that. And I will work with you to make sure... Oh yeah, you have to have permission to... If you give me a character, you have to have permission to give me that character. Which is like if I say... Which is like I say someone wanted to give it to someone else so they could have their character in. That other person needs to give the okay that their character can be in. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, I will work with you to make sure the two drawings of the character are what you want. That the environment art is what you want. That the music is what you want, and they will be included in campaign mode. So I will make sure that the dialogue and how they interact with the other characters is what you want. Okay. I will try to have none, but I may have to have some few restrictions on what you can do with the character, just because they have to fit the tone of the game. For example, there is little to no, just as a very vague example, there is little to no swearing in Tofu Topple. I think maybe one person says one word, and probably more coming up. There's little to no swearing in this game. If your character swears like a sailor, we're gonna have to meet in the middle somewhere. Either use replacement words or phrase it in a different way or something. Like, are there any loopholes that risk being exploited? Like if I won the tournament, but I try to slip my 2 Kamen Rider OCs as a single character because the gimmicks that they work as a pair. That would be pretty cool, actually. I mean, they would always appear right next to each other. Like, they would effectively function as one character. They'd standing next to each other. The portrait would have both of them standing right there. You'd still only get the one environment. All of that. Oh, you get a garbage gem, too. Your character gets a garbage gem. I will work with you to design a garbage gem. They will get their own garbage gem. They only get one garbage gem. Like, outside of the art, you're still getting one character. I will draw the line somewhere, though. You can't say, like, I want an army of 100 people that functions as one character. No, I'm not drawing 100 people. So again, I will potentially have to place some restrictions on what you request, but I will try to have as few as possible. I want this character to be what you want them to be, and I will work with you every step of the way to make that what you want them to be. I will have to add even though I'm adding them technically to Well Gaia canon for the sake of this game, I will add in the disclaimer terms and conditions, contract to sign, what have you. So I will say, your character, just because your character is in the game, you do not get revenue from the game, or any sales from the game. There's that. B, the character is in the game now. I am under no obligation to remove the character from the game or change the character in the future if you desire it. I may still, because I'm a cool guy, but I'm under no obligation to. The rights to the character are still yours. It is still your character. I cannot do with that character what I see fit. I can't, like, it's in my game now. I can use it in other Well Gaia games or whatever, or I can make new Tofu Topple stuff and use the character however I want in that. Like, no, it's your character. I do not have free reign to use them how I want. Those are the only conditions that I can think of, but I'm sure I'll think of more. Have to write up a contract or something for this. So yeah, anyway, that's about all I can think of. Yeah, Tofu Topple. Wow, what would I even do with a Tofu Topple 2? I don't want to make a Tofu Topple 2. I'm not even done with the first one, technically, because I've got to add another character to it at some point. I want to be done with one. I don't want to think about it too. I'm not, like, done with Tofu Topple, though. Like, it's version 1.0. But more work still needs done on it. Anyway. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't know. Mostly I'm, like, excited to see how it goes, but if anybody's got any questions, I'm all ears. But otherwise, I can't immediately think of anything. Uri, I'll think about it. That sounds like a headache. Can the character be a monster? Sure. Whatever you want him to be. I mean, hopefully they can speak. Otherwise, that's going to make campaign mode real awkward. I mean, it doesn't have to talk. But it'll make campaign mode real awkward if it can't. Every encounter's just gonna be like, what's that? Roar! Oh no! Match. But I mean, look, if that's what you want. Isami can actually talk to animals. That's part of the benefit of her spirit talk, is it let her talk to the animals of the forest. So, yeah, she could actually talk to it. Oh, if we're doing campaign mode, that means you also get a crap ton of sprites. I don't know, probably like 4 or 5. But you get a bunch of little sprites for the dialogue. This is going to be a lot of work. This is like adding a character to a fighting game. You want to know why it takes them so long? Like, we added 1 character. It took us 3 months. Yeah, you know why? Because, like, fighting games are your game. If you have 10 fighters, 1 fighter is 1/10 of your game. A lot of work goes into adding 1 fighter. What's the sliding scale of goofiness allowed? Probably whatever you want. Let's be honest. I mean, again, it has to fit the tone of the game. So if you want to go like Saturday morning cartoon, hitting themselves on the head with the hammer, that may be a little far. Unless you do something like friggin', what was her name? In Skullgirls. Where, like, it kind of works. A bipedal arm. Every bit of dialogue would just be the character looking at him squint eyes going, what? Dialogue would be an emoji. No, I decline that one. I decline that one. I could do something like put a star on either side and say like thumbs up. Can't actually type emojis. Oh, Felix, you asked a question? Did I miss it? Say the character we have is an anthro-animal character, like, say, mine. Would it be redesigned to fit the design of the world? That's something that I would work with you on, depending on what you wanted to do with the story of the character and how that worked. Because if you wanted them integrated into, well, Gaia proper, they would probably have to be classified as a bestia. But otherwise, bestia are pretty broad in terms of human-animal hybrids. You can kind of do whatever you want with a bestia. If you didn't want to go that route and integrate them that far into, well, Gaia's story, then you can kind of do whatever you want to do, and everybody can just look at him and go, "You're not normal?" And they go, "No, it's fine, I'm not from around here. Got caught in a dimension warple or something." Like, I would work with you to make sure that we get what you want. And some of that goes to the plot that you want for your character, the plot and story that you want for your character as well. Yeah, go phone up the OJ, guys. Hey, we need to put Popo in this game. Hey, you don't have to have the rights, you just have to have permission. If you can contact them and get them to go, heck yeah! Then we're good. Probably some legal crap I'd have to talk to them about. I mean, it would be amazing to get Naka into OJ. I feel like that's a more limited roster, let's say. I feel like that would be quite difficult.
Tiny apple.
Hey, thanks for the call. Does Marie Popo have a cannon height? I feel like to get her proportions right, she'd have to be like 3 feet tall. If nobody else is hopping in, some guy I'll hop in. That's a bug. Waiting on host. I'm gonna time out. Something is hecked up. Well, it'll boot me out and that'll restart, so... Or I could just do this and that'll restart and then I'll hop in again. There we go. Heck. Go away. I keep throwing gems on top of the bombs when I don't mean to. I don't know, I kind of like Meat Bun. It gets rid of half the gems that are in my way. I mean, I'm not getting any points for it, but at least they're not in my way anymore. Of course, it'd be real swell if I didn't keep throwing a gem right as the bomb was falling. Oh yeah, there are official Popo plushies. Alright. Oh, some guy using Hypercam to record. Have you tried using... I actually, for most of my recording, I use, OBS Studio. Yeah. For most of my local recordings, I use OBS Studio. Like, you think of that as like, oh yeah, you stream with that, but like, it does local recordings, and it does good local recordings. I'm surprised. I don't actually use OBS Studio to stream, I use Streamlabs OBS to stream. But I use OBS Studio, so I have two different OBSs. I use OBS Studio to record local. I need to open a P.O. box. I have a P.O. box. Well, Barry has a P.O. box. Cool game. Who made it? Me! I made it. Thanks for asking. A couple minor bugs we've run into here that I'm kind of taking note of that I'll work on fixing. They're all pretty minor though, so I'm not too worried about it. Let's see here. And the game is currently available! If you want to check it out, you can check previous streams here or go back and watch the VOD of this stream if you want to see more about what the gameplay is like. Otherwise, if you want to purchase it, it is on Steam currently. There's a link just below the stream to the Steam page of it. It is $9.99. Okay, so let's see here. What else was there? There was the full screen, the screen size things get a little wonky sometimes. The little Naka that was giving hints carried over onto the netplay screen, which was weird. And the little white bars that the usernames are in carried over into a different... Let me back out. Those carried over into offline stuff, which I'm not really sure how that happened. Yeah, they're here. Why are they here? Yeah, why are they here? They shouldn't be here. And then there's no Naka there. But if I show it... and then I join a lobby, Naka's still there. That's the problem. Okay, so what if I show it, and then go to campaign, and then go online? Nothing. Okay. That seems pretty simple. That should be a pretty simple fix. Like, it's 100% replicatable, which means I can track it down. I got a pretty good idea what's up. Anyway, a couple minor bugs to fix, but I'm not too worried about them. If I think about it, if I decide to, maybe I'll fix them up over the weekend, get out of version 1.1 or something. Or maybe I'll just wait. That's pretty decent quality, all things considered. Oh, I'm surprised. I was actually holding my own for a while. I was a contender. I mean, some guy did say he slowed down for me. But I was a contender. Alright, so... yeah, a couple minor bugs. And then the last thing that I wanted to do, and I don't know when I'm going to do it, was I wanted to add another game mode. So what I'll probably end up doing is combining Time Trial and Endless and the other game mode into a single sub-menu. The other game mode, it's just going to be like... it's going to be like Time Trial Plus or Endless Plus. I just have to decide which one. Maybe Endless? Endless? I don't know. But it's effectively going to be just that game mode, but you also have to deal with garbage blocks. The only other thing is figuring out where to hold score.
Pineapple.
Because I don't know what I'm doing here. Thanks for the follow. Because I don't know what I'm doing here. I'd have to add, like, arrows or something to the side so you can go to a third thing. I don't know. It's actually going to be kind of a pain in the butt, but we'll figure it out when we get there. So I wanted to release that. I don't know when. Sometime. Gonna be work. Oh, also, fair warning. When the tournament's over and the winner's decided and we know what we're making, be prepared for it to take me friggin' forever to add another character. Just a heads up. Alright, anyway, it's getting kind of late. Thank you all for hanging out, keeping me company, toppling some tofus. Next Thursday... okay, so over the weekend, I don't know what I'm going to do. I may work on the idle game. I may poke around in Tofu Topple. Next Thursday... we are going to be playing Minecraft. Diving into survival Minecraft. Not on a public server or anything, just be me and Vivian doing our best to not get eaten by zombies. I don't know. I feel like that'll be fun. Just see how things go. Next Friday, I don't know. I feel like it's been a while since I took a look at the wheel, so I kind of want to play something off the wheel. But I also may just play Fragment or something. We'll figure it out when we get there. Anyway, good night, everybody. Thanks for hanging out.